Chapter 701, Rank 3, Airsac Gu, Translator, Atlas Studios, Editor, Atlas Studios. 8 desolate beasts encircled closer to Hefeng Yang and Fairy Kang Yu. They are all real. Fairy Kang Yu had extremely outstanding investigative methods to check the situation, but the result caused her pretty face to blanch further. Hefeng Yang looked around him and saw, to the east was an ice-spiked divine ape whose bulk was only somewhat inferior to Donghun Mountain. A tyrannical aura spread out from it, and as it moved, it left behind a pure white icy trail. The fur on its whole body were like ice cones, which brought a stifling pressure upon the two immortals. The sclera of its eyes were jade green, while its pupils had a frost blue luster. This represented the dense bloodline in this ice-spiked divine ape. If the eyeballs were completely frost blue in color, that would be the ancient desolate beast, Icefall divine ape, whose battle strength was comparable to a rank 7 Gu immortal. To the west floated a phoenix feather, lava crocodile. This crocodile was 2 to 3 times the size of ordinary crocodiles, and could not compare to the enormously huge ice-spiked divine ape. Yet its aura surged mightily. Its every breath brought a scalding hot heat wave. Its brownish-red scale armor was thick and robust, and its slender tail was over 6 meters long. It did not have any scales on its back, but instead had colorful phoenix feathers that resembled blazing lava. To the north stood a proud golden sand-dark stallion. This horse was huge, its size reaching the chest of the ice-spike divine ape. It had 6 legs that looked like they were cast from metal. Its muscles were bulging. Its posture was proud and aloof like a dragon, and its whole body shone with a golden luster. Only the 6 hooves were pitch black. The south side was entrenched by an azure dragon vine. This vine was not a wild beast, strictly speaking, but a plant. The vines had condensed into a dragon shape, and when its roots were pierced into the soil, its defensive and regenerative powers were extremely terrifying. Thus it specialized in battles of attrition. If it pulled out the roots, it could soar in the sky like an azure dragon. On the southeast side was a swamp crab. It was the king of swampy terrain. Its broad, mountain-like body could reach up to a quarter of Donghun Mountain's height when standing. Its eyes had degenerated till they were non-existent, and its shell was so thick that Hefeng Yang felt a powerless sensation, like he was facing a tortoiseshell. It had altogether 19 pairs of legs, and its front pair of pincers could easily crush boulders and cut dragons. Even Fang Yuan, with his immortal zombie body, did not dare to test the might of this pair of pincers. A peach wolf was crouching down on the northeast. This wolf had the smallest size, the same as that of a newborn puppy. It looked extremely good-natured and cute with its round body, plump claws, pink tongue, and round dark eyes. Judging from appearance, it seemed to be harmless to both man and beast, however. Hefeng Yang's pupils shrunk, and if he had to choose a direction to break through, he would avoid this one outright. An iron crown eagle circled over the northwest side. This eagle gave off a valiant and imposing aura as it hovered in the air. Its eyes locked onto Hefeng Yang and Fairy Kang Yu. Its wings were broad and thick, and each of its feathers could be shot out like sharp arrows. Its claws were firm and savage, able to crush boulders and rip apart dragons and tigers. Finally, on the southwest side stood an Earth Chief desolate beast. It had a humanoid body with a snake tail, its face resembled a bat's, and its nose was pointed up. It had large ears and was black all over, with armor made of flesh covering it. Around its chest were 50 to 60 fleshy whips, each over 20 meters in length. There were suction organs on the surface of the fleshy whips. It would be hard to free oneself if someone was entangled by them. At the front of each fleshy whip was a chrysanthemum-like orifice, which could shoot out a white milky fluid at the crucial moment. The fluid had very high corrosiveness and contained extremely large numbers of parasitic worms, which could drill into the pores of people and wreak havoc from inside the body. Fang Yuan had borrowed these 8 desolate beasts from Langya Land Spirit. More accurately, it should be said that Fang Yuan borrowed Langya Land Spirit's rank 7 beast enslavement Gu. This immortal Gu could subdue all kinds of wild beasts, including mutated beasts, myriad beast kings, beast emperors, even desolate beasts and ancient desolate beasts. Desolate beasts had the power of a rank 6 goo immortal and could be very difficult to deal with when the wild goo residing on them were unknown. 8 desolate beasts encircled He Feng Yang and Fairy Kang Yu, eyeing them with greed. The two sank into silence with no signs of a leisurely attitude like before. He Feng Yang turned his heavy gaze towards the peak of Donghun Mountain. Compared to the 8 desolate beasts, the true threat was still Fang Yuan and the other 3 immortals. Almost no desolate beast could use killer moves, but Gu immortals had ample wisdom to use and research killer moves. He Feng Yang's heart had sunk into rock bottom. He forcibly calmed down and shouted towards Fang Yuan, "Who are all of you?" Except Fang Yuan, the other 3 immortals were wearing masks. He Lulan wore a black bear mask, Fairy Lishan wore a blue bird mask, while Tai Bai Yunsheng wore a deer mask. The 3 were also shrouded in a layer of light that concealed their true appearance, hiding it from the investigative methods of He Feng Yang and Fairy Kang Yu. Fang Yuan chuckled. "Before asking us of our identities, shouldn't you two introduce yourselves first?" He Feng Yang and Fairy Kang Yu silently glanced at each other and saw the bitter look in each other's eyes. They had thought this trip would be simple, and at worst, they thought the other side would possess a Gu Immortal's battle strength. However, they absolutely had not anticipated the enemy force would be this strong. Thus, they had been arrogant and directly requested Fang Yuan to surrender without giving self-introductions. "My name is He Feng Yang, a rank 6 enslavement path, Gu Immortal of Immortal Crane Sect. I am Kang Yu, a rank 6 water path, Gu Immortal of Immortal Crane Sect." The two introduced themselves one after the other. Their attitude was no longer as overbearing as earlier. They were behaving very humbly at the moment. A wise man submits to circumstances. Those who could become Gu Immortals were outstanding people. At present, Fang Yuan had an imposing force. He Feng Yang and Kang Yu decisively lowered their high heads. It might be easy to defeat Gu Immortals, but killing them was difficult. He Feng Yang could use expand space. Immortal Gu to tear a hole in Hu Immortal Blessed Land space and escape. However, they did not know Fang Yuan's abilities. If Fang Yuan had an Immortal Gu that could prevent their escape, the situation would become dangerous. "So it is brother He and Fairy Kang Yu." Fang Yuan's tone was polite. "I am Fang Yuan, and I welcome you two as guests in my blessed land." These polite words felt grating when He Feng Yang and Kang Yu heard them. It was full of sarcasm. He Feng Yang could not help but feel stifled. What he had asked for was clearly these people's true identities. But Fang Yuan played dumb and gave an irrelevant answer by only replying with his name. Right now, who in Central Continent's 10 great sects would not know of his name? Fang Yuan intentionally avoided this topic, and He Feng Yang, as the weaker side, did not dare to pursue it. "I wonder what both of you are here for?" Fang Yuan asked. He Feng Yang was silent, but inwardly he was screaming insults. "What else could we come for? It is to take Hu Immortal Blessed Land and capture Donghun Mountain." "This brat asking when he already knows?" Fairy Kang Yu snorted. "Why is Sir speaking in such a weird and sarcastic tone? Sir's power surpassed everyone's imagination. When did such a force appear in Central Continent? Today was our loss. Sir's planning skills are indeed excellent and have fully controlled the situation. Now what should we do? If you want to battle, then let us begin. Why waste time chit-chatting? We will battle to the end if you wish to. In the worst case, our blood will splatter all over and we will perish here." Fang Yuan could not help but take another look at Fairy Kang Yu upon hearing these words. Shortly afterwards he smiled. "Fairy, you are quite brave. I am filled with admiration. I can roughly guess your intentions in coming here. It should be for Donghun Mountain's Guts Gu, right?" "You are right," He Feng Yang frankly admitted. Under the circumstances, he had no choice but to admit it. The scheme which he had painstakingly devised and prepared for over a year in order to capture Hu Immortal Blessed Land had already completely failed. However, right at this time, he could not help but have some hope. If Fang Yuan wanted to battle, he should have started already. But he has been talking up to this point. It seems he is afraid of Immortal Crane Sect, As long as I use this correctly, maybe we can escape without any accidents. Fang Yuan suddenly clapped and smiled. You two came in at just the right time. I had already been thinking of selling guts goo. What do you think of this goo? A rank 3 goo worm flew out of his hand. The goo worm slowly flew under the gazes of 6 goo immortals, 8 desolate beasts as well as the blue charm lightning shadow, and landed in He Fengyang's hand. He Fengyang was uncertain and worried of Fang Yuan's scheme as he carefully accepted this mortal goo. This rank 3 goo worm resembled a ladybug. It was the size of a large bowl, its head was extremely small, while its stomach was so big that it occupied 99% of its body. Its stomach was round like a lamp bulb and was translucent. It did not have a carapace on its back and also did not have wings. In its translucent stomach, there was a goo. A goo within a goo? Fairy Kang Yu softly mumbled. This rank 3 mortal goo was clearly a storage goo worm, particularly with the purpose of storing goo worms. These types of storage goo worms were extremely common. It included examples like earth treasury flower. However, the goo worm inside the belly made He Fengyang's gaze fix on it, as if it was glued. He then said with uncertain eyes, "This goo inside, could it be guts goo?" Fang Yuan gave a bright smile. "That is exactly right." "What?" Fairy Kang Yu's beautiful eyes widened in astonishment. She might know very little about guts goo, but she knew guts goo could not be taken out of Donghun Mountain. If taken out, they would dissipate. It was because of this that Fang Yuan was not willing to trade guts goo before. Because if others wanted to use guts goo, they would have to personally come to Donghun Mountain, and letting so many outsiders enter Hu Immortal Blessed Land would no doubt be a huge threat to Fang Yuan's life. This was the reason Central Continent's 10 great ancient sects wanted to seize Donghun Mountain. Guts goo could not be taken out of Donghun Mountain, thus taking control of Donghun Mountain meant being in control of guts goo. However, the fact right in front of them showed that guts goo could actually be stored and taken out of Donghun Mountain. Fairy Kang Yu soon recognized how much significance this unremarkable ladybug-like goo worm carried. For a moment, her eyes were tightly affixed to it. "This goo worm, what is its name?" He Fengyang looked up at Fang Yuan and asked with a slightly trembling tone. Fang Yuan had in truth not thought of a name, and casually named it at this moment, Airsac goo. He Fengyang sank into silence. In an instant, he thought of many things. Immortal Crane sect's higher-ups had also made these attempts. Back then, many goo immortals had participated, but it ended up in failure. Now success was in He Fengyang's hand. He Fengyang's hands shivered slightly. If guts goo could be taken out of Donghun Mountain and exported to all places, Treasure Yellow Heaven, High Sure Blessed Land, Central Continent, Southern Border, Northern Plains, how big of a profit would this be? Something that even our immortal Crane sect could not research was successfully accomplished by the force behind Fang Yuan. What are their origins? Maybe they had planned for a long time and thought of every means to capture Hu Immortal Blessed Land in order to engage in the business of guts goo. Fang Yuan did not attack. Could it be that he wants to, with our immortal Crane sect? He Fengyang was still considering when Fang Yuan spoke. "Since both guests are interested in my guts goo, what do you think of doing this transaction?" He Fengyang's heart wavered.